there is a shaking that is happening, and there may be some physical shaking that you may experience. The earth itself might shake. You might feel shaking in your body, but it is a shaking of perspective. It is a revisiting of the way in which the construct of reality that has always been begins to take on a new lens. And through that, you begin to see in a new way. And perhaps the timeline or the idea of how everything is meant to be or should be or has been that feels safe and familiar will no longer be. But something else will arise, something will be born from that, something magnificent, something beautiful. And you are at the cusp of this beautiful rebirth, of this new beginning, of this frequency arriving on your planet. All right, welcome everybody. I'm so glad you're here for our Wednesday time together, where I channel the Archangel Raphael, and people in our community can ask Raphael questions. And if any of you are watching this on YouTube and you're like, yeah, I want to ask Archangel Raphael a question, you can do that for free by joining our free membership. Usually there's a link in the description. So before I get started today and I channel and we see what the audience has in store and questions that are going on the planet right now, something really profound and beautiful showed up for me. I have a tendency to live in the world of magic and synchronicity, and sometimes that's like, happening all the time and everything feels so special and magical. And other times, you really fall into the 3D and you're not feeling the magic so much. And things are just kind of doing their thing. But we are, as all of you know, most of you know, I received 55 downloads of 55 light codes that Archangel Raphael has asked me to bring the transmissions of those codes in, and I'm halfway through. And on October 27th, and we're going to do another transmission. It'll last for 12 sessions and 12 days. And 9 of them will be transmissions with Raphael. And the code that came up is called the Sacred Holy Womb. And about, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, before I knew that the next code was the Sacred Holy Womb, my nephew, who is a professor and a scholar of Tibetan Buddhist studies, told me about something called a dark retreat, where you go into the darkness for 3 days where it's pitch black. There's no sound at all. 2 meals are delivered morning and night, and you're just there by yourself in the dark. And it's a process of deconstructing, breaking down yourself. And it's kind of a death of a sorts and a rebirth. But you're really held in the darkness, in the womb of creation. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'd be open to doing that. But there was this huge, long waiting list. Anyway, I got an email last week and they happen to have an opening. And of course, they have the opening right before we go into the womb code. And so I said, oh, yeah, the universe is talking to me. So I'm going to go and do this. It's a little, I'm feeling a little brave about it. It's kind of a big deal. But I know it's about, my own process as Kelly, but I know it's for a much bigger purpose. That it's about me being able to fully drop into that emptiness, the void, the space of creation, the womb, literally in the darkness for 3 days. Many of the masters would do it for 41 days. They would go into a cave, the Tibetan monks, and a lot comes up, and we really face so many things, but we get to delve deeper and deeper and deeper. And as we go into those spaces, if we're emotionally and mentally prepared for it, we can reach the depths of our soul. And I feel very strongly that the next few months between now and the winter solstice, as Raphael's been talking about all year, is a big process, a big thing coming, and we may be really starting to really feel those labor pains coming on as so much is happening around the planet. And so, opening this sacred space for all of you in October to enter into the womb, and into the darkness. And it was interesting. So, I got out, here's the card, for the Sacred Holy Womb. And it's so beautiful with all the eggs and the uterus and the darkness. And I said to Casey, sometimes I get downloads about what the code's about, and I forget that we already have a book that tells us what the code is about. So I grabbed this book off the bookshelf and I opened it to look for it. And look, it's totally blank. I guess this was like a prototype when we were first making them. And I'm like, the darkness, the emptiness, nothing, right? It's like there's nothing there, it's empty. I'm like, okay, the universe is talking to me. So then I got a real one and I opened it. And I opened it right to this one sentence here. And it says, as the great mother emerges with her spinning portal of creation and galaxies whirl around you, you might feel an invitation to retreat into the darkness. So that code that we're going to do starting October 27th is going to be really going deep, really deep, and deconstructing so much within ourselves so that we can birth a new reality, so that we can birth the fifth dimension, so the avatar frequency can be born within ourselves, so we can enter into a new timeline, that we can lead ourselves and align with the ascension timeline. Because if we're so filled all the time with distraction and busyness and our phone and asking questions and reading and thinking and moving and we don't have any space. And with the way the technology is moving so fast, the time for spaciousness where we're just like staring out and looking at the trees and just breathing and we've lost sight of that, a lot of that, because it's constant information coming at us. So although yes, I am doing this because I feel called to the darkness and I feel called to stepping into this space, and I'm feeling, my sister said to me, she said, "You're being brave." I'm like, "Yeah, I am kind of being brave. 3 days alone in the dark." But I know something really, really magical and profound is going to happen, and I know I'm going to connect with these beings, and I feel Mary Magdalene and the Divine Mother are going to come in really strong, and that it's going to be really special. And then I'm going to take that, which happens, I'm going to do this next weekend by myself up in Vermont. And when I'm done, we're going to start the code, and I'm going to share with you everything and support you in energetically through the transmission, bringing in what is needed so that you can step into that emptiness, to that void, so that together as a community, we can birth this new reality as we move into the winter solstice. So I just wanted to tell you my process, what's unfolding here on the back end. And if you feel like compelled to be in that womb space of creation and birth new realities with us, then that'd be beautiful. We'd love to have you. All right, so that's what's happening here, and I'm going to channel. So if you're new to me, my name is Kelly Kalani. I've been channeling the angel Raphael for 37 years or more. I don't remember anymore. And I'm going to make some toning sounds. I'm going to move my hands around. I'm going to say hello. Raphael's going to come in, and then Casey, who is my son, who I love and adore, is going to call on you guys. All right. Any rules we want to go over, Casey, before we begin?
Just remember, one question, please make it universal and try to really think about what you're going to ask so it's concise, covers what you're talking about, so that there isn't really a need for a follow-up question. All right, everyone. And if you have your camera on, I'm more likely to call on you. And I'm going to mix it up just with people that I'm unfamiliar with, just so everyone has a chance. And I'll come back. So don't worry if I didn't call on you right away. It doesn't mean I'm not getting to you. I'm just trying to mix it up a bit. All right?
Fabulous. Yeah, and I can't see the comments, but I assume people are asking about the dark retreat. I don't want to recommend this to anyone, and I'm not recommending it to anyone. And I first want to have the experience before I would even consider doing that. And it's definitely something that you have to be prepared for. I mean, I've meditated for many years and I feel like I'm ready for this. It's not for everybody. So I'm not promoting this in any way. I'm just sharing with you my experience and what I'm planning to do for myself. And then I'll let you know how it goes. But please don't go jumping into signing up somewhere for a dark retreat unless you're really uh, feeling called to it, and it's been calling to you for a while. So I would, if that's coming up for you, just sit with that for a bit, okay? I'm definitely not promoting anything here. All right. Mm. Let me see. Ah. Oh, ow, 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 hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Ow, ow, hello.
Hello.
Ow.
Bless you.
Ow, ow, ow. We are very happy to be here and to attune to you in this way and our understanding that many of you are wanting to talk to us. And so, hello.
Hello. Hi, Raphael. So I think there are going to be lots of exciting questions today. And I just want to start by talking a little bit about what Kelly just brought up in terms of this dark retreat before the womb code. And I'm curious, as we as a collective here are birthing this new consciousness, what should our relationship to darkness be in the terms of literally the absence of light and our relationship to that? Can you tell us a little bit about how we might apply that in our own lives, even if we're not going on a dark room retreat?
Well, you can begin by just spending a little bit more time in stillness or in darkness and adventuring out into the night, into spaces perhaps that are unknown or unfamiliar, or even wearing a blindfold as you are eating or connecting or talking or moving, and feeling into the senses and allowing the mind to begin to empty and to fall away as you bring more awareness to other aspects and part of who it is that you are. We have arranged this particular alignment for Kelly for good reason, for there is a momentous amount of energy descending upon your planet and approaching it at a rapid pace at this time. And during that process, there is a shift that is occurring in perspective, in reality, in which you've been feeling for a while, and yet will continue to intensify as many things are collapsing, shifting, changing, shutting down, deconstructing. And it is that as everything, as always, as a mirror. And so, whatever is occurring in your external experience and reality, whether it be personal or on a global scale or perspective, is a mirrored reflection of what is happening deep within the essence of yourself and your consciousness. And so, the collapsing of these energies is a mirror of the deconstruction of constructs that are held within the mind, within the unconscious aspects of self that are buried deep. And so moving into the darkness will require a willingness to surrender, a willingness to let go, a willingness to meet the darkness as it is arising, to be present with it, not to resist it, and to begin to allow the deconstruction deconstruction of the mind, the deconstruction of the ego, of the constructs, of the ideas of what is to fall away. And as it falls away, you will find something shimmering that will be difficult to even understand inside the dark itself, a light that will appear in the pitch blackness of the emptiness, the seed of creation, the spark, the sound, the frequency, the beginning, the merging of energies in which something is ignited and a new beginning is born. And so it is in order to drop into that emptiness and into that space, it is required within all of you to release that in which is distracting you from that center point in order to open up to the infinite possibilities of something new. And so much is occurring right now on a profound and energetic level on your planet. And as all of this is taking place, there is a shaking that is happening, and there may be some physical shaking that you may experience. The earth itself might shake. You might feel shaking in your body, but it is a shaking of perspective. It is a revisiting of the way in which the construct of reality that has always been begins to take on a new lens. And through that, you begin to see in a new way. And perhaps the timeline or the idea of how everything is meant to be or should be or has been that feels safe and familiar will no longer be, but something else will arise. Something will be born from that, something magnificent, something beautiful. And you are at the cusp of this beautiful rebirth, of this new beginning, of this frequency arriving on your planet. And so we are opening up doorways and possibilities for this one as the vessel in which I speak through to drop into that emptiness. And although the opportunity has been presented, it, as always, requires free will and a willingness. And it is within the willingness and the openness to such space and spaciousness itself that the emergence of something magnificent and beautiful is born.
Thank you, Raphael. And I'm curious when it comes to sometimes we have the conscious willingness to shed old belief systems and constructs and all of these things, but something else inside of us might be holding on. How do we bring ourselves into a state of harmony to facilitate the shedding of what needs to be let go of in the process to integrate this new energy coming on the planet?
Oh, it's going to require some discipline. And although no one likes to hear that word, and it is not something in which I harp on much, it is of great importance at this time. And it is of great importance to remove that in which is distracting you from the presence of your internal being, from the listening to your own intuitiveness, to your own essence, and to your own truth, because the noise and the information is becoming louder and louder and louder, and it is infiltrating and seeping into your daily experience and taking up more and more and more of your time. And as it does that, it begins to have impact on you. It begins to control your thinking, your mechanisms of your experience in ways in which are unconscious. And so you are deeply distracted from the possibility of entering into enough spaciousness within your energetic field to come into alignment with the emergence of perhaps what appears unconscious within you that is rising in order for those mechanisms to begin to dissolve so space can begin to open for something new. And so, as we've been perhaps harping on this for a bit, and will continue to at this time, we urge all of you to invite yourself to have long periods of time without technology, without your phone, without the computer, where you have timeouts for periods of time. And perhaps you even put a note, don't touch it, don't look at it, and forcing yourself to come more and more back into presence and into nature and into communication and into relationship and into connection, and into moments of presence, because it is through there that the awakening occurs. And it is through that space, as this energy is approaching the planet at such a rapid pace, that you are able to receive the downloads and the codes and the information that is so present, because the veil is so thin. But if you are deeply distracted all of the time, there is no space for the receptivity of the energy that is coming in, that is supporting you in your own evolution and is deeply supporting you in opening and birthing new realities and creating the new earth, stepping into a new dimension of reality through a precious frequency of love and attunement to the vibration of union. And so we are encouraging and will continue, as we always have from the beginning, to take time away from the black box in whatever form it is appearing. And yet we recognize that we are speaking to you now on the black box. And it is through this that the communication and connection is taking place. But this is a training wheel. This is a dry run. This is the pregame. This is the rehearsal dinner. And so you are tuning to our frequency, because you are listening through the transmission as it is passing through Kelly, and you're receiving the frequencies. But you also have a direct line to my vibration, to the higher frequencies of your divine self, to the attunement of these beautiful energies that are bombarding your planet at this time. And so it is important that at least within equal proportion of time spent receiving information from outside of self, it is received internally, and it is received in the stillness and presence of your heart and in attunement with the collection and connection of community.
Thank you so much, Raphael. All right, we're gonna start with Sharon Sims.
Hello, Raphael.
Hello.
My question is, with the changes that are going on the Earth plane and the growth of AI, is there still a need like to go to college and get a degrees, or what should we be learning right now?
Well, this acceleration that is taking place will be changing and shifting your educational system quite rapidly. And so it is of great importance to align with what brings you joy, what is the essence within one's own heart that they are wanting to share on a planetary level, to be of service or to bring forth their creativity and to align their frequency of support within their own energetic field and for those of others. And if there is great clarity in that, and if that clarity is in alignment with something in which learning is necessary, and an institution can provide that learning so that one can perform that operational skill in which they are seeking, then more of a traditional education may be warranted at that time. However, the idea of education in the way in which you have all perceived it, and the need for higher education, will change very quickly and rapidly. And many of the institutions that you have all looked up to for higher learning will, like all things in all institutions on your planet, be going through a rapid transformation and a reworking, should we say, and will become more places of collaboration, connection, creativity, communication, and rapport building. But it is that the AI, as you speak of, will be replacing many things. And although that can can at times feel frightening, it will be opening also opportunities for other energies, other experiences. So it is dependent upon the individual and each particular situation. There is no blanket answer as to whether one should seek higher education or not. But the hoops that children have passed through for so long that have led them to the same place in which then they go forth by reiterating information in order to receive a judgment or to receive a grade about how they did on something, in order for them to be seen to be worthy of receiving more information, and to take that information and to reiterate that, and to also have it judged, in which they receive a grade to be worthy of more information. That particular model in itself will become outdated fairly quickly. Within several years, it will no longer be viable. But what will be viable is your creativity, the consciousness that you carry, the love within your heart, and your capacity to remove those constructs and to move into a state of an avatar state, in which has been dormant within you, within the divinity of who you are, through your creation process that has not been accessible to you, comes back online. And so many other types of schools will start to flourish and begin to pop up that will bring you back into teachings of playfulness and teachings of indigenous ways and attuning to nature and building and creating together, and connections similar to that of the great mystery schools, and learning and remembering how to communicate telepathically, how to heal miraculously, how to teleport from one place to another, how to birth or give energies to the vibrations of instant creation and manifestation, stepping into one's own power source, into the infinite possibilities of creation itself, through the opening of the heart center and the attunement to the quantum field itself, will become the energies that will be profoundly needed and sought after to align with the avatar vibration of who it is that you are, in which case the learning and and the repetitive spitting out of information, which will be done by the machine, will no longer be needed. And yet the input of the creativity of the creation process will always be an unfoldment in the human experience. So, however, like many things, you all find yourself on a bridge in the center between the third dimension and the fifth dimension, because the constructs are still operating, the schools are still working, the children are sitting still in the hardback chairs in the classroom at a desk, and it is that many are still taking their SATs and going to institutions of higher learning. And it is not to say that that is not valuable, but you are in between two worlds. You have not left that world yet, but you have yet not to build or enter this new one. You find yourself right now as a collective in the center of this bridge between these 2 points, these two frequencies. And so it can be difficult to know, do we move toward the traditional energy that is familiar and safe? Do we leap off into something that fully hasn't formed yet, with the hope that it will work, but it is not clear? It is that you're at the cutting edge of moving into this fifth dimensional vibration. Where do you go? What is it that you do? And so right now, because you are in the center of the bridge, you have to take the middle path between the two until the energy takes that quantum leap into the fifth dimension, meaning that it is important to integrate both energies, both frequencies, and to weave them together as you begin to take stepping stones to pass into higher dimensional realities.
Thank you, Raphael. All right.
Hey everybody, so I am doing something pretty crazy and wild. I'm doing a 3-day dark retreat. And a 3-day dark retreat is when you're completely immersed in the dark, in the emptiness, with no sound and no light for 3 full days. I'll be doing that in about 10 days from now. And the reason I'm doing that is to prepare for the sacred holy womb light code so that I can be in that space of the womb, the emptiness of creation, because I feel something really intense and powerful is coming up as we close into the end of 2025. And Raphael is asking me to prepare. So we're going to drop into the Sacred Holy Womb Code on October 27th, and we're going to birth all new realities. It's going to be incredibly powerful, and I can't wait to share with you my experience and tap you into the potent frequency of the womb chakra. So we'll see you there. You can click the link below to register.
Right. Rebecca.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. My question is about sacred sites, and in particular Göbekli Tepe and the nearby sites which are surrounding it in the east of Turkey. Firstly, what can you tell us about the true history of the civilizations and the intentions upon which these sites were created? And secondly, for those of us who are making a special journey to visit Göbekli Tepe and the surrounding sites, is there something specific that we should be doing energetically whilst there in order to help at this time when our planet is going through a profound shift in consciousness and as these energetic sites are becoming activated?
Well, it is that this space has opened up and has come into your reality, despite the fact that many are trying to shut down these spaces. They are finding their way into the public, and the information of how ancient and profound they are is coming to light.
Okay.
Which is beginning to change the trajectory of the understanding of your historical perspective and the timeline of history itself. And so this space or place of Göbekli Tepe is deeply connected, as you are already very conscious and aware, with the stars and attuned to the galactic frequencies and the beings that dwelled there at that time, who had a deep relationship with their star families, and the star beings lived and dwelled among them, and there was direct communication that was taking place between the two. There are older sites near and around Göbekli Tepe that delve even deeper than that, in which prior to the merging of that which was on the planet and the star beings themselves were fully present as they were building gateways and communication centers between them and their star sisters and brothers before these stargates were what we would call, although we do not like to use this word, tampered with and turned off, and access between these worlds began to slow or shut down, like the shutting down of your computer, in which there was hope for a reboot, but that reboot is just beginning to come online now. And as that reboot is slowly coming online, of those who during that time lived and dwelled at these sites and had interaction with these frequencies are being called to these places to connect to them, as they are carrying specific codes within their own DNA and cellular structure that are supporting the activation of this, which is creating an activation in the opening of the stargates for communication to be reestablished and for deeper understanding of what was taking place at that time to be understood and eventually shared on a much larger scale. However, it is of no coincidence that there is a lot of conflict and war very close in proximity to this region, because there are energies that would like to perhaps own, should we say, these gateways between these realms. There is a lot that is taking place that is unseen and or misunderstood as well by the public that will start to come to light in coming even months and years and much deeper understanding as the galactic frequencies are approaching your planet at this time, and a reunification of communication and connection is coming online. These places and the sacred vibration of the ceremonies that had taken place had the capacity to jump timelines and also to blend and merge current realities within multiple dimensions simultaneously. And so the unlocking of these keys and the information and the codes that have been left behind by those of your star sisters and brothers within these sacred sites are beginning to be uncoded. And the flooding of the information is starting to arrive as the reboot is coming online. This place that you speak of Göbekli Tepe, although quite special and very, very ancient, more of these sites around your planet will be discovered quite rapidly as your technology will be changing and they will start coming online. And some already have been, and yet have been, should we say, not hidden, but in a sense, yes, hidden from the mainstream, will start to be more known. And there will be an emergence of these places in which you will recognize that they in themselves carry a map, and that map that they will start to form as you see them and are linked together as sites around your planet that mirror the map, not of your constellations within your own solar system, but are a map to other solar systems and in all the way into the galactic core and communication with other beings around these systems in relationship to all of you. There is much more we could discuss on this subject, but recognize that this is perhaps for another time.
All right. Thank you, Raphael. Great. Go ahead, Lily.
Hello.
Hello.
So we've been talking about the sacred womb. So my question is related to the female reproductive cycle. I'm wondering why it can have such intense hormonal fluctuations, emotional shifts, and physical pain, creating a lot of struggle for some. I'm wondering what's the deeper purpose of these experiences.
Well, it is that also brings some sadness here in this understanding in the human experience of this pain in the uterus and often fibroids and cysts that are created in painful menstrual cycles and etc. But there has been an onslaught of war raged against the feminine in this space in which it has lost its sense of sacredness and reverence and an honoring in this way. And within the ancestral lineage, this has created a tear within the energetic or larger womb space of the Great Mother, the creative frequency of creation, life force energy itself. And so, a deep healing that is emerging, and you are all experiencing and being called to at this time within the feminine, of an honoring of this vibration and a recognition of the purity and the presence and the power that resides in it, is occurring on a collective level. And as that healing comes into fullness and completion, the need for this physical pain that is often felt, that is deeply in alignment with taking on the collective pain as a whole, will no longer be needed to take place. However, on a personal level, it can also beginning to unfold around relationship within one's ancestral lineage, deeply rooted in connection with the mother line, through to the root point of where it may have originated, in which there can be a wounding or an infliction or a penetration or a trauma that may have occurred either directly within the presence of the one experiencing the pain or within the lineage of the ancestral line, or even through the passageway of the soul through repetitive incarnations that is inviting for a clearing of this energy to take place through the presence of deep willingness for self love at the deepest core level to fully drop into the worthiness of oneself, to adore and love at that deep level of the creational force that resides inside in the owning of that power. And it is through self love and empowerment in that of deeply feminine creative space by owning one's gifts and energies of purpose, that much of that energy can also find its way into more clarity and the clearing of it, and an unnecessary need for the continual purging or continuous pain that may be arising.
Thank you. All right, Linda McPherson. Try to unmute yourself now. That was my fault.
Hello, Raphael.
Hello.
My question is something I've wondered about for many years, and it's whether we're living on a flat earth under a dome, as it says in our Bible. And it's been ridiculed by many beings, but I was doing a little research on it and saw that many cultures from all around the world have believed that we are indeed living on a flat earth under a dome. And our own Bible states it very clearly that we are living on a flat earth. So since it seems to be denied everywhere, I don't know what the truth is. I would really like to know.
The jewel, the earth, the beauty, the Gaia, the planet, the frequency that you know as your great mother is very much like a womb. And she is held in a vibration like a sphere, and she spins rapidly, and she moves dynamically, and she has life force energy, and she is not flat and not covered by anything. She is a dynamic spherical frequency spinning through your solar system, filled with beauty and love and light and emanating frequencies of joy. And the attunement to her is one in which you can enter into her center, into her core, inside of her, into the center of her 0 point that can only reside, in which you can only touch in the knowing of her, in the fullness of her roundness, of her womb like vibration, of her sphere frequency. And so it is that whatever it is that one is wanting to attune to as truth in the understanding from one's perspective, the questioning is to what is the benefit of the idea of the construct of the belief that this beautiful great mother is flat and that a dome is over her. And what is the dome? And why would it be there? And why would she be flat? And so the emerging and the attunement to that may be something in which to witness, but from the perspective of where it is that I am as Archangel Raphael, in which my vibration can perceive from perspectives unknown or unseen from where you are, you, just like her, are also a sphere, a globe of light. You are round and full, and inside the center and the essence, so within you, is a space, a seed, a 0 point, a core of your being, just like her. You are mirroring her. You are a part of her. And when I look at all of you, I see you as spinning spheres of light. And when I look at the great Mother Earth, I see her as a spinning sphere of light in which she is. And yet that is through the perspective in which how it is that I know it to be true. And you may find your own truth in whatever form in which you are being guided to do so. But from where it is that we are, she is a living being of light that is moving rapidly, and that she is perfectly round and filled with love.
Thank you.
Oh,
Could you just answer why that is written in our Bible? Was that?
We do not know why many things are written in your Bible, and many of them are filled with love, and many scriptures carry great truth, and others perhaps not. And so it is important to question, to look, to wonder, to pay attention to what is written and who it is written by, and by for what reason and what it serves. So perhaps a deeper look into that may bring greater understanding and perspective at this time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Kim Connors.
Hello, Raphael. Hello.
Hello, hello.
I would like to know if you could give us some insight about SSRIs, specifically sertraline. There's millions of people on these drugs for long periods of time at high doses. When they try to come off of them, the medical field often insinuates or implies that it would just take a couple of weeks of withdrawals. However, the brain zaps and the seriousness of the emotional impact for many of these people as they try to come off of them is quite intense. Is it possible for the brain to eventually adjust and overcome to these withdrawals? Or are some people destined to be on them for the rest of their life? Thank you.
We recognize that the syntheticness of this can interact with the biological, creating a dependence upon it for the emotional well-being of others. And that when one feels a need and is ready to withdraw from such substances, it is of importance that it is done very slowly and incrementally, in a way in which the body and the mind and the emotion can begin to adjust to the changes that are taking place. However, it is absolutely 100% possible when and if, after one has experienced the connection to this synthetic process, and are ready to release it and slowly to move away from it, to come back into a harmonic harmonic balance within themselves and to be off of it. But it also requires the emotional work. And much of what is occurring and with synthetic drugs that at times are necessary for one to come back into balance within themselves or to receive for healing in the body, etc. That there creates a dependence upon it. And the dependence lingers and remains as long as the psyche or the physical element or the emotional element, whether it be of any drug, has not been addressed. So the drug can be used at times as a bridge to give someone perhaps what is needed so that they have the space or the energy to deal with what is needed on an emotional level, so that when that healing takes place, there can be a weaning gently off the drug until they come back into balance. But if the emotional part is not addressed and the work is not done and the healing is not taken seriously on a deeper level, then the withdrawal is not possible because the healing has not occurred. And so the mind will want to return to it in order to feel what it is seeking to feel in a more natural state from the work that is needed on an emotional level. And this is the same whether it is for taking a drug to lose weight, which we have found is very common in many of your cultures and societies at this time, in which one becomes very dependent upon it. And as soon as it is done being taken, the weight returns because the habits or the emotions or whatever was needed to be healed to bring harmony and balance within the energetic body did not take place. And so, although the drug temporarily appears to have worked, it cannot maintain this sense of stability. And it is the same for any drug that is taken for any ailment. It can bring balance, harmony, and it can bring a relief to symptoms, but the healing still needs to happen. And that healing occurs on an emotional level, on a physical level, on changes in habits, in behaviors, in reflection, in contemplation. And when all of that comes into fullness, into integration, into healing, then at times the drug can fall away or is no longer needed or can be weaned off. And so we are not saying that one should not take a drug or should take a drug, but we are saying that the healing itself does not occur from the drug, but it gives an opportunity where on many spectrums of many situations, space in order to do what is needed to bring the body back into balance naturally, in which then the drug itself can be weaned off, in which one can come back into a harmonic state.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Sam.
Hi, Raphael.
Hello.
Is there something special about the Icelandic language that is spoken by such a small population that it hasn't been changed in over 1,000 years? And how does that relate to the pagans of those times and bridging a template into the new earth and the overall Icelandic cultures, its lands, its caves, its magic, goddesses, and preserving this Old Norse language and its relevance to light workers and how to delve deeper into this area's profound vibrations?
Oh, this is a very beautiful, pure, profound template. And it is one of the few places that is also inhabited by people on your planet where you can drop into this purity of this frequency of this pagan vibration where the template is still intact. Often the template has been tampered with and is no longer able to radiate the vibration or the signal that it was meant to for the planet on a planetary scale. And yet, Iceland and the surrounding area and the codes that are carried within the actual structures of the ice themselves, and during the melting time of the beautiful season in which the light hits it, and the lights that dwell during the time of the night sky, are very powerful templates of light that carry indigenous coding from original teachings and sites. As off you were speaking earlier, or another of Gobekli Tepe, and the template that it carries it carries its own signature, its powerful vibrational template for the planet in its relationship to the stars and the star beings. This particular energy in this template is not going out into the galaxies, into the distant skies, but is much deeper primordial pagan vibration that spirals down into the core of the inner earth and within the primordial waters of the fairies, the divas, the elementals, the light themselves, the frequencies and the beings that emerge from this vibration. And this is one of the few places on your planet where the template is not been torn, that it is fully integrated within its beautiful crystalline structure emanating this vibration. And so that is when one is there, they feel this energy, and the language, although spoken by few, that is still shared within specific connections and within the communities themselves, is a sound. And that particular sound is an anchor that resonates through the template itself and begins to support and is the anchor vibration that allows the communication templates between that, within that template and the inner earth, to maintain a corridor of connection or openness and communication, similar to how Göbekli Tepe's communication corridors through the stargates are connecting with other star beings. And that template of energy had been dismantled or tampered with, and is now coming back online. This has not occurred in Iceland, and it has always remained intact, and it holds a beautiful energy for the proliferation over time and the rekindling and awakening of these templates in other sacred landforms and spaces around the earth itself.
Thank you, Raphael. All right, Rain. Try now. Oh,
Hello,
Hello.
thank you. Um, what is the two-spirit and commonly at this day and age known as the trans experience teaching the collective? And what message do you have for the two-spirit trans ambassadors of oneness at this time?
It is the merging of equal parts of the divine masculine and feminine in an androgynous way, returning into an original form in which one is finding balance between the two in the integrated space of the 0 point of the collective within the energy between both the inner and the outer, as above, so below, or the galactic core and the inner earth emerging within one of the template that holds a balance between all of these frequencies to give birth in new ways.
all right. Thank you. Jan.
Did you say Jen?
I said Jan. Jan
Okay.
Hi, thank you so much for your guidance. This question is something I'm experiencing, but it's not just about me. I have a healing practice, and many clients are coming in with the issue of dizziness. And it varies from vertigo to motion sickness to wobbliness. Um, could you address this? Because I feel like there's a part of this that's energetic.
It is very energetic. It is a strong symptom in the metamorphosis process as you are evolving on a biological level, and shedding is taking place, and difficult to find one's footing as reality is morphing and changing, and a feeling of unsteadiness on one's feet or a shaking. There is a shedding and a shaking actually happening on the planet. There may be some amplifications of this shaking coming, not to be anything for anyone to be afraid of, but it is always a mirrored reflection of what is happening externally that is also happening internally. And so it is very important when one is having these experiences to be grounded, to spend a lot of time outside, to have one's foot barefoot on the earth, to lay in the grass, to look up at the sky, to turn everything off, to recalibrate to the resonance of the planet herself and her frequency. Because as her frequency is changing, she's like your landing pad. And if there isn't enough time spent with her and on her, and as she changes her residence, and you're not able to integrate or ground it into the energetic body, it can cause this sense of being out of balance, feeling dizzy, shaking, because these are some of the frequencies that she too is experiencing. And so sometimes, yes, it is more physical, and we are not to in any way dismiss one having physical issues that may need to be addressed, and yet simultaneously, we want to acknowledge the fact that many are having this experience, and it is very valid to the transition that is occurring through multiple merging of timelines, realities, frequencies, and changing from one paradigm into another. And so the most important thing is to connect with both the ground and the water, and this will help to ease these symptoms.
Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome. For whatever reason, we are recognizing the vessel in which we are speaking through needs to take a break. And so we want to send to all of you all of our love and all of our light, reminding you that in the coming months, as you are moving into this birthing process of these timelines and energies, to take time for yourselves, to take time to be with family, to be in nature, to move away from your phones and your computers, to laugh, play some games, listen to some music, disconnect a bit, move into stillness, align with creation, open up space for what is going great in your life, for gratitude for all the blessings, and to be reiterating that and focusing deeply toward that in which you are wanting to create from a state of joyfulness, and allowing the rest to fall away. And for that, we send to you all of our love and light at this time. Many blessings, much love, and good day.